So since we're a small group, maybe we could just do quick introductions, just like what you teach or what you do and everything. I'm Megan. I have been at AU for almost 3 years now. My background is in accounting, actually. I went to undergrad for accounting and then grad school for sustainability and environmental management. So I have 6 years of accounting experience before I switched into the world of sustainability. I got my start down in New Orleans, where I worked briefly with the Recovery School District, integrating sustainability back into their a couple of their schools after Katrina, where they lost all recycling in the entire city. So it was a really interesting project that I just happened upon through a friend, and I worked with her to create the educational materials for kindergartners and high school students and their teachers, because the teachers also didn't know how to recycle because they hadn't had it in several years at that point. And that experience led me into wanting to do this full time. And so I moved into doing sustainability work with middle schoolers, and then got a job at the University of Richmond, where I led their sustainability program for 4 years before I came up here. So do you want to start and we'll just go around?
Sure. My name is Michael Schroeder. I'm a landscape architect and facilities management, and we work closely with Megan on lots of different things.
Angela Van Doren, environmental science, and we are going to be doing a lab with you guys. I'm really excited about a waste audit for the non-majors, where they're going to kind of dig through the trash. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Are you working with Kehoe on that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So
I'm Melissa Hawkins. My background is in public health. We come and speak to our introduction to public health students. A lot of our students are interested in sustainability. It really is a nice complement to what we teach in public health. So I'm just interested in learning about more ways that we can incorporate into our own programs.
Fantastic. Yeah, we have, I'm just going to quickly go through sort of the history of sustainability at AU. Some of you have probably definitely been here longer than I have and lived through some of this, but it was helpful for me when I got here. Yeah, so we're in the same place. I had to learn it all. And then go through a lot of the resources that we have. We gather a lot of data in my office, and in the spirit of sustainability, it is all publicly available, and so we want people to use it. We spend a lot of time on it, and it covers all sorts of ranges of things across campus. So I just want to introduce you to what's out there and what's on our website. I'll talk a little bit about some examples of projects we've worked on with classes in the past and how those came to be, and feel free to ask questions as we go along, obviously. So for the history of sustainability, we've had a lot of pretty big accomplishments. When I got here and started looking through, these were the highlights that I focused on, but I'll just talk about a couple. The first one was back in 2008. Dr. Kirwan signed something called the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. In 2016, he signed an update to that, so it's now just called the Climate Commitment, which is much better. And what that document does is commit us to a handful of things, the first being climate neutrality. We picked 2020 as our goal, so our goal is fast approaching. Another one of the things that we're committed to through that, through being a signatory, is educating our community about sustainability. And so that's not just educating all of our students, but also our faculty and our staff about what's happening in the world of sustainability, so we can all be engaged citizens around it. And in 2016, when we signed the update, the piece that was added is resiliency planning. And so that's something we're working towards now. We're doing a resiliency assessment for campus, looking at all of our opportunities for what we can do around that. But that's the new piece that was added on most recently. So the next thing I'll highlight is that in 2011, we began buying 100% renewable energy credits. This was really a big thing at the time for universities as far as steps forward in working towards climate neutrality. It took care of more than a third of our greenhouse gas emissions instantly, and it set us on a path towards being really committed to renewable energy. We moved on to installing renewable energy on campus, and ultimately had a huge project that came online last year, which we'll highlight in a second. All of our construction is now built to LEED standards. LEED Gold is what we aspire to in all of our new projects. And that is just another way that we've committed to integrating sustainability into not just what we're doing with teaching people, but how we're running our university behind the scenes. It's okay.
I have a cricket in my purse.
When we ask people what they think of when they think about sustainability at AU, zero waste is one of the big things that pops up almost every time people see the waste bins across campus. It's something that's really visible, and we adopted a zero waste policy back in 2012, our initial policy. We've updated it a few times and are changing things all the time to make it work better, but it has been really a big piece of our sustainability commitment over time. And then the project that I alluded to a second ago for renewable energy is this solar development that we installed in North Carolina. This is an aerial view of one of 3 farms that we have there. We partnered with George Washington and George Washington University Hospital to install these solar panels in North Carolina. And so that's part of our grid. So instead of just buying renewable energy credits that contribute globally to the development of renewables, we've now directly impacted the number of renewables in our grid, which was a huge deal at the time. This was the largest installation of a renewable by a non-utility in the country.
Wow.
So it's a huge deal. We've since been beat by the University of California system, which is fantastic. Like, we proved you could do it, and other schools have jumped on. We're now no longer the largest. I think we're still the largest this side of the Mississippi, so I'll take that for a while longer, but I hope somebody beats us, or we build another big one with somebody else.
California is just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
Many campuses.
But it's really amazing. And now half of our electricity comes directly from this. So we no longer have to buy 100% renewable energy
How many
credits.
acres is that?
310 acres. Well, that farm is not, all 3 farms
Total,
together are
yeah.
310. I'm not sure what the breakdown
Yeah.
is between. And all of these things are pushing us towards our 2020 climate neutrality goal, with a question mark of how we'll get there for the rest of the way. We have an idea though. So our office is in the finance division. There are 3 full-time staff. One of those positions is vacant right now. We're hiring for it. And then we work with a variety of students. We have student interns who work directly with us on different projects within our office. And then we also hire student sustainability educators, and their job is to connect with their peers and do peer-to-peer outreach and work on projects across campus. And one of the other things that they do is actually work on a student summit that takes place at the Smart and Sustainable Campuses Conference that University of Maryland hosts. It takes place in March, but American University runs the student summit, and so our students are really involved in that. And it's an opportunity for students from around the country to present on work that they do on their campuses.
So how did the students learn about that?
About the conference?
About being a student educator or
We publish it through Student Jobs. It's a paid position in our office.
uh-huh.
And so every summer we hire for it, and we'll put it out on social media and in all the different methods of communication that exist on
Okay.
campus.
I
But
just don't think it's come like through us like departmentally
if,
share, but as long as they're getting it directly.
yeah, we send it out all the ways that students hear about jobs that we know of. But if there are methods within your department for not just jobs in our office, but
Because we have like a weekly newsletter that we send out for internships and jobs that we think are specifically could be a good fit for our students.
I have been developing a listserv
Okay.
that I
Okay.
created of just people around campus who wanted to hear about those things that they
Okay.
would share.
Yeah, I will give you
So if there's
another
somebody,
name.
yeah, if there's somebody in your department, definitely send me her name, because we'll send out information about our student jobs that we have. But then I also hear about internships around the city
Right.
that I
Right.
don't always know the best way
Right.
to tell people
Okay.
about.
Okay.
Not me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are any of these positions work study?
Yeah, they all are.
Oh,
Yeah, everything in my office is work study or not. You don't
Okay.
have to be work study, but
Uh-huh.
you can be.
Okay. okay. We should talk.
Yeah. We want to get the information out as best we can.
Okay.
And so then we have a lot of dashboards. And one of the ones we have, they all have real-time data and also historical data. And so there are 2 different dashboards that relate to our energy consumption. One is the Lucid Energy dashboard, which I'll try to pull up, but if not, I have some screenshots of it if it's being a little slow today. The Lucid dashboard looks at every single building across campus and looks at real-time energy use happening in that building. It pulls data from the buildings every 15 minutes. And you can go into the system, compare building to building, compare buildings over different time frames. You can change the units, so you're comparing the entire building's energy usage per person, per square foot. You can look at it in all different kinds of ways. And then we also have a dashboard that looks at the SIS solar panels and looks at the amount of energy they're producing. So let me see if I can just pull it up and we can take a look at it. So this is the dashboard for Lucid. And so the homepage gives you comparisons, and you can look at all of our residence halls. This shows the total energy consumption for them today in real time, or you can look at just the academic buildings. You can click on any building to get, where are we? I don't wish to print. Oh, doesn't like me. Well, we'll go back to this then. This is why I took screenshots. So you can, yeah. So you can click on buildings and you'll get the real-time data by every 15-minute intervals. So you can drill down pretty deeply into it. And you can also click on another building and you'll get a second graph that pops up. So you can compare them right to each other. And right in this, you can change it from total to per person. You can look at different time periods and really drill down into it. There's also an additional piece of this that not everybody has access to. It's really behind the scenes stuff. But if there are students who are working on specific projects who would want the behind the scenes information and to drill down and look at this data in different ways, they can contact our office and we can give them access to that. It's just not really very public facing friendly looking. They're a lot more intense. It's what our energy managers use to check to see if there are problems in buildings. But that data.
So what is that called? The building data or something? Or?
Yeah, so this is building dashboard, and so then the other system is building OS, and it lets us drill down just a little bit more. It's the same exact data, you can just look at it from sort of a different angle.
Yeah. Okay.
They have things called heat maps, so you can look at a whole year of data in 15-minute intervals and see where we're doing well and where we're doing poorly. What's kind of cool about that is you can see we do the shutdown week over winter break for the week between Christmas and New Year's, and you can see that the color of the buildings changes for that week because we're saving so much electricity. And so that's what you can see behind the scenes, just the data from a different point of view. But it could be useful for student projects. For the SIS panels, it's a similar looking dashboard. You get to look at the amount of electricity that those panels are producing, and you can again change it from what's happening today. This is this past year's data. And when I clicked at the lifetime of the panels, what was really cool is that you could see that we haven't lost any efficiency in them. They've really produced about the same amount of electricity from year to year, which is great to see. That's what we want to see in solar panels. And you can get all of these conversions so that you can see the data in meaningful ways, which is really great for student blogs and reports to translate kilowatt hours that don't mean anything to most people into something meaningful, like, oh, I can understand 2,000 gallons of gas saved. And again, when you click on all of these tabs, you can drill down a little bit more into each piece of this data. So that's really the energy piece. The other big data collection that we do semi-annually is STARS. Have you guys all heard of STARS? No, okay. It's the Sustainability Tracking, Assessment, and Reporting System. It's part of ASHE. Have you heard of ASHE? It's the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. Anybody can sign up to be a member of ASHE, and all that gives you is access to their resources that they have on their website. You just have to use an american.edu email when you're on the website. So they created STARS for universities a couple of years back to help us with gathering our data. What had happened over the course of years was that a lot of organizations wanted to rate and rank higher education institutions according to how they were doing with sustainability, and they were sending us all of these surveys, and they were cumbersome. And they asked for the same information in just enough of a different way that it just was really time consuming to give them the information. So the people at ASHE created STARS to sort of streamline that process and create one way that we could provide all of our information. And now Sierra Magazine and Princeton Review use the data in STARS to create their rankings and ratings. They choose what's most important to them and they weight it differently. So for instance, Sierra Magazine doesn't look at all of the STARS points. They choose which ones are meaningful to them, and then they balance it out a little differently. So your STARS rating does not necessarily correspond to a ranking that you receive somewhere else. They don't quite align all the time, which, is what it is. But But the really nice thing about STARS is that it's so comprehensive. It looks at all of these things over on the other side, academics, engagement, operations, which drills down not into just our buildings, but also our dining, our transportation, and our waste. There's a whole planning and administration section. How are you incorporating your commitment to sustainability into how you're running the university? And then there's an opportunity for points based on innovation. If the university is doing anything really unique and interesting, they want to be able to call that out and give you points for it. We submitted our third point this past year. We're now our third report, we're gold. The challenge that we've had with STARS, if you go into the data, is that they're now in STARS 2.0. Each time we've submitted a report, it's been in a different edition of STARS, so it's hard to look back and say, here's where we've done better, because it's changed just enough where it's not quite apples to apples, but I still think it's a really useful tool. So when you go to the STARS website, you're able to look at our report. You can see where we've earned points. So for curriculum this past time, we earned 25 out of 40 points. The way we gather that data is we send a survey out to all faculty members every other year to ask. It's this email that will tell you the names of the classes you've taught over the last year and just ask you if they're sustainability related. We don't provide a definition of sustainability. We ask you to use your best definition of sustainability, since it is so broad, and we really want to capture classes that don't just reflect the environmental piece of sustainability, but capture the social and economic pieces as well. And so we want to keep it broad, but that's it. That's how we get the data. We just ask. And you can drill down into any of these categories. So this is the academic courses one. You can see the data that we entered, that we provided to them that gave us our ranking. And in addition to seeing American University, you can also drill down and see what all the other schools are doing who have used STARS. I find they've just created this sustainability hub, which is available on ASHE's website, which is just ashe.org. And in the hub, you can drill down into any one of these pieces and learn more information. Some of them are just tools. For instance, in the curriculum section, there's a literacy test. There are different publications that faculty members at various schools have uploaded into the system. But you can also go into the STARS data piece and pick a question and a type of school. So you could say, I want to know how all of the universities that have a population of 6,000 to 10,000 students answered, this question on how are they dealing with sidewalk ice, and you can drill down that way and compare answers and get lots of data. And this is all publicly available. Everything that goes into STARS and ASHE is available for all member institutions to drill down into even farther as well. Do you guys have any questions about STARS? Okay. Yeah.
So this is great. Also, I think the real-time data, has anybody already done an assignment on it? Because I feel like it would be a great assignment to give probably to any environmental science class, because we already have them do their environmental footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if anybody that knows the system better has written an assignment, because I would like to use it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly not since I've been here.
Okay.
I don't know what was done prior to that.
Yeah.
But no. Yeah, I don't know of anybody who's really using this data in classes, which I would love to see.
Maybe
So-
we should get a student on that.
So my mind's thinking, so I teach a stats course where they have to analyze data, and we just start off where they come up with their own variables to examine and relationships to explore.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe this could be an interesting way for them to familiarize themselves with the data, on a topic that's of interest already, and then have different ways of examining
Yeah.
relationships within it.
Yeah, it would be great because it comparing all of the data, not just gives you more information about what your school's doing, but it also really helps us highlight where we could improve. Like, what is another school doing that we're not doing that we could be doing, or where is there a gap in what we've done in the past? Like, where are we missing something?
I wonder if there would be particular relationships you'd be interested in examining that we could
Well, there
try
are
to get students to,
certainly
Yeah, exactly.
there are certainly areas of STARS where where the criteria have changed from one version to another, and our initial thinking was really in line with a former version of STARS. So those would be the topic areas that may be really interesting to look into, where we might have planned towards one thing and now the target has shifted a little, and what can we do to push ourselves over? Yeah, there are a lot of areas like that though. So it could vary from things that are really operations based and going back to the energy data, or there are areas within HR, like they look at making sure like the opportunities that we have available for staff and faculty are equitable. So it can go in kind of really broad directions as far as what people want to look into. And obviously there's a whole section on grounds, but we do really well on that. So in addition to all that data, I think I've given tours to classes here, but we do offer tours and lectures on request. Anytime anybody wants us to come visit, we're happy to. Those tours and lectures are always tailored to what the professor is most interested in for their class learning. So depending on what the class is focused on, we're happy to shift our presentation or our tour to really focus on those things. We just created a Google Maps tour as well. So on our website, there is a Google map that has all of the icons on all the buildings. And when you click on them, you'll get a little description of what's going on in that space. And I believe they all have pictures now. If they don't all have pictures, they will in a few weeks. But most of them have pictures. And then this guidebook app is actually the first example I'll highlight of a project that a student group did in their capstone class last semester. And so they had come to us wanting to work on a tour, and we had this app that we'd already purchased and hadn't done anything with. And so we gave them the login information and let them loose with it. And they did a fantastic job. It needs to be, a few things need to be finished on it, but we'll release it later this semester. And it links into the university has been using this guidebook app for different applications related to orientation for students and a few other things. And so now the sustainability piece will be part of that. And it allows you to take an audio tour of campus, sort of by yourself on your phone, wandering around. And then it looks at the different buildings, campus features. The zero waste guide is right in it, so you can have that right on your phone instead of wondering about something. And you can link right into those energy consumption data things from the app while you're using it. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's brand new and a different way to access all of our data. So some of the other things that we've worked on with classes are waste audits. These are all of our student sustainability educators this year, hanging out with our waste bins. So the student sustainability educators, for anyone who's been around for a while, they were formerly called Green Eagles, and so we've morphed that program into sustainability educators. So we'll do waste audits with any group who wants to. We work closely with facilities on that and gather waste from either a space on campus or an entire building for a day. And then we'll go through and dig through trash and figure out how we did, what types of trash we're creating, and figure out what types of opportunities there are for that. And we had a class who used that waste data to think about what they could do differently. And so we had a capstone project last year that focused on redoing the signage in SIS for a week, and then doing waste audits before and after to figure out if a slight signage change helped with their disposal rates. And another group in that class collected cups from around campus and did an art project that was in Mary Graydon Center for a little while. And they used the cups to just raise awareness of how many cups are being thrown away on campus through this art project, which was awesome. And then we're available for informational interviews. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, did the changing the signage, did that make any difference?
They had some data problems in their process, so it was unclear.
Because I had one lab group 2 years ago that did it in the library, and they didn't change the signage, but what they did is they put up these big plastic boxes, like sometimes you see at Whole Foods with examples.
Yeah.
They didn't find a difference, but it was a very small lab project, and I think they took like one data sample or
Right.
something like that, but it
Yeah.
but it was,
Yeah, this group, they, one of the students who had the data left the university, so then they didn't have a big chunk of their data.
I think they did say from their observations,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
felt as though, or they observed, but
Yeah.
they didn't actually have. the
Yeah, they
data.
had anecdotal data of, we hung out in the lobby and watched people
Yeah.
who paid a little bit more
Yeah.
attention, which
Yes.
it's not an unreasonable way to gather data. If people read the signs, then they're probably thinking about it more at
Basically,
least.
it's just raising the same information that's on the cans now, but up to
Yeah.
a higher level, so you have to, your hands needs to read it.
Yeah. It was minor changes. So we are available for informational interviews, and so those interviews have ranged from me talking about my career path to helping people find information for their papers, giving people access to all of this data that I've mentioned, just pointing people sort of in the right direction. But as a result of all that, of talking to people and pointing them towards the right direction, one of the big things we've worked on this past year is our website. We've redone every single page on it and tried to streamline it to make it easier to find things. So it's now broken down into these categories. We are limited by AU's website design, so it's as pretty as it can get for now. But we've changed it into Get Involved so people can look at the direct opportunities that they have across campus. We have a book club that meets once a month that I love, but hardly anybody comes to it, but it's so much fun. This month we're reading Blessed Unrest, which is about the social movement involved in the environmental world, and it's a short book. It's less than 200 pages. Sometimes I get a little overzealous, and I'm like, let's read a 400-page book in November, which is a terrible idea. But it's just an informal lunchtime group. We meet once a month and talk about the book, and we don't even require that you finish the whole book. But all that stuff is highlighted in there. In the academic section, a lot of this stuff falls back on STARS requirements. They require that we publicly post a lot of the information that we're gathering for STARS, and we have to provide a website. So some of that stuff is just data, like here are all the courses that faculty told us are related to sustainability. But there are other opportunities in there to drill down a little deeper. If the internet were cooperating with me, I'd click on these for you. Campus greening is really about our operations, and so in there you can learn about what's happening in grounds or in our buildings. There's the Arboretum link in there. What else do we have going on in there? It's all the links to the dashboards are right in there, so you can find all the information. We, because of our commitment to LEED, and we find that most people have no idea what LEED is, we've started to create case studies on every LEED building that we have on campus, and they're 4 pages long, each case study, and it just highlights the features of each building that helped that building earn green building status. And then we go into progress, and so since our goal is 2020, and there you can see our graph of our greenhouse gas emissions. You can click on the data that we submit directly to our climate commitment organization, which is called Second Nature. We have to publicly report back to them as well. It's all the same data that's covered in STARS, but it's also available if you want to see it in a different format. And then there's lots of ways to stay in touch with us. So if you do have an opportunity to visit the website, because we just redid it, please let us know if it's helpful, if there's something missing, if there's something you'd love to see that you couldn't find. We really would like feedback so we can keep making it useful and making it a positive place to be. We do have lots of other opportunities coming. So we have at the dessert reception today, Hannah, who also works in my office, will be there. She's our outreach and communications manager. And so she does a lot of, she also does campus tours. I try to give all of the ones for classes, but sometimes like somebody just asked me to come give a tour for a class that had 46 people in it. So I was like, I'm gonna bring Hannah and we'll split the class in half. That'll be great. I'm gonna do a full day workshop in May. I had worked at a previous institution on a program designed to integrate sustainability across the curriculum, and it was a 2-day workshop. And this is the format that's at lots of universities. It was started at Emory in Arizona to help faculty who are interested integrate sustainability into a course they already teach. And it's not limited at all in what you teach. When I did this at my old school, I had an accounting professor who integrated it into one of his courses. And for those of you who didn't major in accounting, everything in accounting is getting you ready for the CPA exam. So being able to squeeze sustainability in is pretty amazing. But he did it through case studies that he was working with in his accounting classes, which was awesome to see.
So this will be in May, full day for faculty,
Mhm.
so like the beginning of May, like after classes?
It'll be right after classes.
Uh-huh.
I have the date, but I
Okay.
forget it.
Okay. That's
Yeah, it's just a full day workshop. We'll highlight these features again, but then my goal is to have everybody really have an opportunity to talk about the classes that they teach
Mhm.
and see where there might be an opportunity to bring in some sustainability knowledge. So I'll also highlight not just the environmental sustainability stuff that we typically work on in my office, but the other aspects of sustainability that might make sense to add to a course.
You know what might be really interesting? There's a science site from University of Buffalo, and it's all science case studies. And it's written by professors all over the place. And so they're always asking for new case studies. And I use them all the time, from environmental science to biology. And the idea is that some of them are kind of fake written stories, some of them use more data than others. But I think it could be really great if they really did a case study. And it's provided out there for other universities to use or for other people to use. It might be interesting.
Yeah, that could be a really great tool to highlight.
Yeah, it's the Center for, I don't know, Science Case Studies or something like that. They're awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, and then you can just email sustainability@American. That's the easiest way to find us and book a tour. You can email us all directly, but that's easier to remember. The Arboretum also has resources, and Mike and Stephanie are your go-tos for that. They also give great tours. I've been on a bunch of them over the years here, and every time I learn something entirely different. So those are really great. There's a little bit of overlap between our tours, really focused just on stormwater. But when I have given a tour to a class that has already gone on your tour, I find that like you guys are so all over the place with the material. I always have to be like, so what did they talk about? So I don't do that. I can't like assume that you talked about a certain
We
thing.
need to do more joint tours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have like a tour script. They're all different.
Everyone's
Everyone's
unique.
different.
Yeah. Yeah, we follow a much more scripted tour that we'll tailor a little bit here and there, but for the most part, if you get a tour from Hannah, it looks exactly like a tour from me. And then we have the Smart and Sustainable Campuses Conference Student Summit that we run. If there are students that you have worked with who have something that would be helpful to share at this conference about work that they've done on campus or a class project that really pertains to sustainability, we would love to have them present. We're accepting applications through the end of January. This is only the second time we've done this, so we're still trying to figure out the best ways to encourage students to come present. But the more the merrier. And if students from AU are presenting, I will pay for their registration fee from my office. So there's no financial, they just have to get to College Park, which isn't so bad. And it's a great day. We really have a good time. We have keynote speakers that come and talk about careers in sustainability. And it's just a full day opportunity for students to meet other students from around the country. Last year we had about 100 students that attended, which was wonderful. We also offer small sustainability grants. So anybody on campus, faculty, staff, student who has a project that they're working on that will in some way improve sustainability on campus, we would love to help fund that and are happy to do so. And then we're on all the social medias and we try to stay active on them all. So if you're on any of them, please follow us, and it's a great way to communicate as well about what's happening in real time. Any other questions? We've reached the end. Thank you all so much. I think.
So before you please tell me without the evaluation.
What is the session number?
Session number is